Dennett, Consciousness Explained. Dive into A Consciousness Explained by Dennett, a groundbreaking journey that challenges long-held beliefs about the mind's nature. Dennett flips the script on the traditional view of consciousness, questioning the existence of a central you within our brains and dismantling the comforting yet flawed Cartesian theater model. Instead, he introduces the multiple drafts model, likening our conscious experience to an ever-evolving narrative crafted by competing processes within our minds. If you've ever wondered how the mind can be both unified and fragmented, this book's summary navigates these complex ideas with clarity and logic. Dennett's exploration doesn't stop there. He redefines consciousness through the lens of language and culture, weaving in the innovative concept of heterophenomenology. Prepare to challenge your perceptions of free will, personal identity, and the very essence of self as you delve into a refreshingly provocative philosophical discourse.
Rethinking Consciousness. The journey to understand human consciousness has intrigued thinkers for centuries. While we've made incredible strides in brain science, the true nature of awareness eludes us. René Descartes, in the 17th century, posited that the mind and body were separate, linked via the pineal gland. His vision of a central control point in the brain dominated thought for eons. However, modern neuroscience began to reveal that consciousness cannot be pinpointed to a single region. Instead, a diverse array of brain areas simultaneously handle sight, sound, emotion, and memory, debunking the myth of a central hub of consciousness. Enter the Cartesian theater, an intuitive yet misleading model proposing that a tiny you inside your brain orchestrates your life, as if watching a movie unfold. This comforting notion supports our personal impression of a unified self. But what if it's fundamentally flawed? Philosopher DanielCDennett tackled this question head-on, disputing the existence of a central viewer within our minds. Dennett proposed that consciousness operates as a dynamic, collaborative process, akin to multiple drafts constantly being revised and edited by various brain functions. Imagine the moment you're startled by a loud noise. Your immediate physical response, elevated heart rate, tense muscles, occurs before your mind consciously processes the sound. Dennett argues this demonstrates the absence of a singular you dictating reactions. By dismantling the Cartesian theater, he paved the way for a paradigm shift, urging us to view our consciousness as a network of parallel processes rather than a unified entity. While this perspective may initially unsettle, it unlocks thrilling avenues for understanding the intricate workings of our minds. Embracing this view, Dennett introduced the multiple drafts model, which radically alters our approach to exploring consciousness. Consciousness Reimagined. Imagine your mind as a bustling newsroom in constant turmoil, filled with reporters crafting various versions of a story. This is how the multiple drafts model reframes consciousness, not as a single, seamless stream, but as a chaotic interplay of competing narratives within our heads. According to Dennett, the brain doesn't process events in a tidy, linear fashion. Instead, it conducts a symphony of parallel processing, generating numerous drafts of sensory experiences, much like newspapers running multiple editions. The draft that prevails, becoming our perception of reality, is merely the final edit of this dynamic process. A striking example of this phenomenon is the phi effect in vision. When two dots flash quickly in succession, we see one dot move from the first spot to the second. If the second dot is a different color, we perceive a color change midway through its imaginary motion, a testament to how our brain retrospectively edits reality, weaving an understandable story from fragmented experiences. This model upends the traditional view that there's a precise moment something enters our consciousness. Instead, consciousness is fluid, emerging from continuous narrative creation and refinement. Our perception of a cohesive reality is actually the latest, winning draft from a sea of possibilities. This revolutionary idea invites us to reconsider memory, decision-making, and even the essence of personal identity. If our conscious self is constructed from an ongoing editorial process, what does that mean for free will or self-understanding? By challenging fundamental beliefs, the multiple drafts model not only reshapes our comprehension of the mind but dares to redefine the very nature of human experience itself. Consciousness Unveiled. As neuroscience progressed through the 19th and 20th centuries, great insight was gained in understanding how the brain manages movement, speech, and sensory input. However, the enigmatic nature of consciousness remained tantalizingly out of reach, dubbed the hard problem. How does the physical brain produce subjective experiences, the vivid mental tapestries that fill our minds? Visualize biting into a lemon, you can almost taste, see, and feel its essence. Yet, how does this sensory orchestration originate from simple electrochemical actions in our minds? This question drew some toward spiritual explanations, positing that consciousness might forever elude scientific scrutiny. Others speculated on quantum mechanics or unknown material properties. Enter philosopher Dennett, who challenged the assumption of the hard problem altogether. He contended that once we elucidate the brain's functions, how it processes information, makes decisions, and articulates experiences, the enigma essentially dissolves. To Dennett, consciousness is akin to a magic trick. Brains ingeniously manufacture the illusion of a conscious whole, much like a magician using misdirection. This perspective sparked sharp debate. Skeptics argued Dennett ignored the true puzzle: how can objective functions explain the raw experience of consciousness? Dennett countered that our struggle with the hard problem reveals the limits of our introspective grasp on cognitive processes. We mistake our inability to perceive these processes for a mystical gap. By questioning the hard problem, Dennett invited researchers to explore tangible aspects of the mind, urging a focus on the observable. He also championed the transformative role of language in shaping consciousness, asserting its crucial influence when many centered solely on brain function. Thus, Dennett's ideas continue to stimulate vibrant discourse on the nature of consciousness. Language shapes consciousness. Imagine navigating life without the power of words. Language goes beyond mere expression, it's a fundamental architect of consciousness. Daniel Dennett suggests that our ability to think deeply and become self-aware is anchored in language. Envisioned as a Joycean machine, named after James Joyce's narrative style, language functions as a software upgrade for the brain. It allows us to vividly narrate experiences, crafting a complex inner world. When you describe a sunset as golden or serene, those words do more than adorn your memory, they shape it. Dennett posits this narrative isn't merely a byproduct of consciousness, it's the essence of it. The unfolding story we tell ourselves forms the core of our identity. Conscious thought, he insists, isn't some innate mystery but a phenomenon deeply rooted in the cultural and linguistic tools at our disposal. This thesis reshapes how we view human experience, suggesting that without language, even the most vivid sensory experiences are bereft of human-like reflection. Moreover, this view presents fresh perspectives on animal consciousness. While animals might perceive their world in rich sensory detail, Dennett argues they lack the narrative capability that language grants humans. By placing language at the heart of consciousness, he forges a connection between the biological and the cultural, urging us to see consciousness as a tapestry woven from neurons, words, and culture. This standpoint has sparked ongoing debates and continues to redefine our understanding of thought and self-awareness, prompting us to reconsider the fundamentals of being consciously aware. Bridging consciousness. Imagine trying to delve into the mysteries of consciousness with a method that acknowledges both the personal nature of experience and the rigor of scientific inquiry. Enter Daniel Dennett's heterophenomenology, a transformative approach designed to marry the subjective world of consciousness with objective scientific analysis. Traditionally, phenomenology focused on examining conscious experience from a first-person perspective, immersing in the subjective and personal reality of one's mind. However, Dennett recognized the need for a method that transcended this introspective realm, offering a way for scientists to study consciousness without entangling themselves in subjective biases. In this innovative framework, researchers explore the conscious experiences of others not by merely observing brain activity or behavior but through detailed narratives provided by individuals. These narratives are treated as valuable data sets, not ultimate truths. Researchers collect, interpret, and analyze these accounts, similar to anthropologists interpreting cultural beliefs, scrutinizing them carefully without endorsing them as incontrovertible truths. This systematic approach allows scientists to construct a thoughtful third-person understanding of consciousness. Dennett's strategy opened a new perspective by shifting the question from seeking what consciousness truly feels like, to understanding what individuals express about their conscious experiences. Such a shift bypassed philosophical quandaries about subjective feelings, grounding the study of consciousness firmly in empirical observation and analysis. Critics point out the risk of overlooking the core of consciousness by focusing on verbal and behavioral reports. Yet, Dennett maintained that any serious scientific examination must start with tangible data, contending that a careful dissection of these conscious reports can reveal consciousness's intricate mechanics. Heterophenomenology challenges us to reconsider our intuitions about consciousness, positing that our self-awareness might be more complex and mysterious than our perceptions suggest. Rethinking free will. Think back to the last significant choice you made. Did you believe you were independently weighing your options? Philosopher DanielCDennett suggests that this feeling of autonomy might be more complex than it appears. Rather than having a central self that controls our decisions, our choices emerge from an intricate interplay of ideas within our minds. This doesn't make our choices any less real, it just means the mechanisms behind them are complex, akin to how the Earth's rotation creates the illusion of a moving sun. Even understanding the Earth's rotation doesn't lessen our enjoyment of sunsets, nor does acknowledging the complexity of decision-making diminish the importance of our choices. Dennett also explored the concept of personal identity, proposing it as a center of narrative gravity. Like a center of gravity in physics, which helps us understand motion without being tangible, the self is more of a narrative we create to comprehend our life experiences. Crafting an autobiography, for instance, is a process of actively creating your sense of self. In this manner, Dennett contends that our identity is not fixed but is continuously revisited and reshaped, much like multiple drafts of our consciousness. These ideas extend to ethical and social realms, posing important questions about moral responsibility and the adaptability of our societal frameworks. If our decisions are the result of complex brain processes rather than a singular self, what does this imply about accountability? If our identity is a malleable narrative, how should this reform our legal and societal perspectives? Through his innovative views on free will and selfhood, Dennett urges us to rethink core aspects of human existence, challenging prevailing beliefs and igniting ongoing discussions on choice and identity.
Dennett's Consciousness Explained leaves us with profound insights into the complex workings of the mind. By dismantling the idea of a solitary consciousness hub, he opens new paths for understanding the multifaceted reality of our experiences. His multiple drafts model reveals consciousness as an intricate tapestry woven from countless threads of parallel processes. Moreover, Dennett emphasizes language's pivotal role in constructing our narrative selves, suggesting our consciousness and identity are shaped by continuous linguistic storytelling. The revolutionary method of heterophenomenology offers a framework for studying consciousness without getting lost in philosophical quagmires. Ultimately, Dennett invites us to reconsider beliefs about free will and selfhood, emphasizing the fluidity of identity and the intricate nature of decision-making. His work compels us to rethink how we perceive and interpret our mental worlds, bridging gaps between neuroscience, philosophy, and cultural studies to enrich our understanding of what it means to be consciously aware.